Kwame Nkrumah and the Queen's Dance. A long time ago, in a beautiful land called Ghana, there lived a man named Kwame Nkrumah. But he was not just any man. He was a leader with a big dream. He wanted his people to be free, to stand tall, and to decide their own future. Before Nkrumah became the leader of Ghana, the country was ruled by the British. The most important person in Britain was the Queen. She was kind and powerful and sat on a golden throne in a faraway castle. Even though they were so different, their lives became connected in a way no one could have imagined. The first meeting in London. It was the year 1957, and something amazing had happened in Ghana. Ghana had won its independence. No longer would British governors make decisions for the people. Now, Ghana had its own leader, Kwame Nkrumah. After Ghana became independent, Nkrumah was invited to London, where the Queen lived in Buckingham Palace. The palace was huge, with golden chandeliers, red carpets, and guards with big black hats standing as still as statues. When Nkrumah walked into the grand hall, the Queen stepped forward, wearing a sparkling crown and a long royal blue dress. Everyone in the room became silent. "Welcome, Prime Minister Nkrumah," said the Queen with a warm smile. Nkrumah bowed slightly to show respect and said,
"Thank you, Your Majesty. It is an honor to be here."
The Queen and Nkrumah sat and spoke politely. The Queen asked about Ghana, and Nkrumah told her how his people were happy and hopeful for the future. But he also made something very clear, that Ghana would no longer be ruled by Britain. It would make its own choices. The Queen listened carefully, her eyes thoughtful. She saw that Nkrumah was a strong leader who cared deeply for his people. Even though they were different, they had something in common. They both carried the responsibility of leading their people. That was their first meeting, but it would not be their last. The Queen arrives in Ghana. When the Queen's ship reached the harbor of Accra, Ghana's capital, thousands of people lined the streets to see her. The city was filled with excitement. Children waved Ghana and British flags, drummers played talking drums, and dancers twirled in colorful kente cloth. The air smelled of delicious food: jollof rice, grilled fish, and sweet plantains. As the Queen stepped off the ship, Kwame Nkrumah was waiting for her. He wore a magnificent golden kente cloth, and beside him stood Ghanaian soldiers in bright red uniforms. Nkrumah stepped forward and said,
"Welcome to Ghana, Your Majesty."
The Queen smiled, and to everyone's surprise, she replied in Twi, "Medase," which means "thank you" in the Ghanaian language. The crowd gasped in amazement and then cheered. Even though she was British, the Queen showed respect for Ghanaian culture, the feast, and the dance. That evening, a great banquet was held in the Queen's honor. The palace in Accra shone with golden lights, and long tables were filled with food from Ghana and Britain. There was roasted chicken, spicy stews, fresh mangoes, and even English tea. But the most special moment of the night came when the music started playing. A famous Ghanaian highlife band began a soft melody, and suddenly, Kwame Nkrumah reached out his hand to the Queen. For a moment, the Queen hesitated. Would she really dance with Nkrumah? But then she smiled and took his hand. Together, they stepped onto the dance floor, the Queen of England and the President of Ghana, twirling, stepping, and gliding under the golden lights. The crowd watched in amazement. Some clapped, others gasped, and some could hardly believe what they were seeing. The leader of a free African nation and the ruler of the British Empire dancing together like old friends. Years later, as time passed, Ghana continued to grow, but history also changed. In 1966, Kwame Nkrumah was no longer president. He was removed from power while he was traveling. Even though he was far away from home, the Queen never forgot her visit to Ghana. She still remembered the warm welcome, the excitement of the people, and most of all, the night she danced with Nkrumah under the African moon. And in Ghana, people never forgot either. They told their children about the great leader who made Ghana free and the Queen who traveled all the way from Britain to dance with him. And so, for many years, children in Ghana and Britain would hear the story and learn a very important lesson. Even people who are very different can find ways to understand and respect each other. And so, a queen and a president, once on opposite sides of history, showed the world that even after struggles, there can always be peace, respect, and friendship. Some say that at that moment, something magical happened. The British and Ghanaian flags hanging in the room seemed to shine brighter, as if whispering, "There can be peace between us." That night, the world saw something special. It was not just a dance, it was a symbol. Even though Ghana and Britain had once struggled against each other, they could still find friendship and respect. This story is inspired by true historical events, blended with a touch of imagination and storytelling magic. Kwame Nkrumah really did meet Queen Elizabeth II, and she truly danced with him during her visit in Ghana in 1961. The rest helps bring the spirit of that moment alive in a way we can all feel and remember. Did you enjoy the story? What part stood out to you the most? Let me know in the comments. Would you like to hear more stories like this, where history and heart come together? Did you enjoy the story and want to see more like it? Stay connected with Nzima AI Media on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.